Hello, everybody. I'm Derek Smith, and I want to welcome you to another episode of Blue Table Talks. Today, I have another professional in our industry. His name is Nick Lemek, and Nick is the Director of Operations for Elite Tactical. And Elite Tactical specializes in a variety of things that I'm going to let Nick tell you about himself. But Nick has been in the industry for quite some time. He's an emergency and security management expert. And today he's going to share his expertise with us, maybe share a couple of stories if we're lucky, and tell us about what he do, how he do it, and how he got started in this business. So Nick, welcome. Thank you very much for being here. And why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to our viewers and tell us what you do and tell us about Elite Tactical.
You bet. Thanks so much for having me today, Doctor. So I'm Nick Lemek. I am the co-founder and chief of operations for Elite Tactical. I'm also the lead instructor. Also, I'm a Omaha firefighter and a paramedic. I've been doing that for about 13 years as well. Elite Tactical's been around. We started in November of 2018. It was just kind of an idea that we thought the current security industry, a lot of things going on, weren't up to the level of service and professionalism that we really thought our clients, the people in our community, deserve. So we set up Elite Tactical with the founding principles, security, integrity, professionalism, and we set up to do facility security, executive protection, secure transport coast to coast, consultations, training. Really, if it has to do with security, Elite Tactical, we have someone who either specializes in that or we have a way to give our clients the best service we can.
Okay. And you operate in Wyoming and Dallas, I think, right now?
Right now we're in Omaha, Nebraska.
Okay.
Omaha, Nebraska, and then we're looking at some moves into Texas right now as well. There's some very exciting developments in the very near future about Texas. So,
great.
So I'm really excited about that.
And I take it that you'll operate all over the country if need be. You have somebody that can go out if you have something in Chicago or here in Maryland. You need.
That's right. Yeah. We have people, and they have some states require a license. They require different licenses for the security services. But we have personnel that have licenses in a variety of different areas, different states, different municipalities. And we can do executive protection coast to coast anywhere in the United States. We can do secure transport. If you've got something you need moved from New York City to Los Angeles, we can come get it. We can get it where it's going safely, securely, and discreetly. So
you have vehicles for that, or you have what is that? Is that a courier service with armed couriers, or how does that?
So our secure transport division. There's two different ways that you run stuff. Either you run covert, because that's one of the best ways to run things. Covert. If no one ever knows you're there, that's one of the safest ways. If you can't go covert, you go heavy, right? If people are going to know you're going to be there, you got to look like no one's going to want to mess with you. But that's one of our big things. We have some covert vehicles. We have some armored vehicles. We have armored covert vehicles, which are great. You got to redo the suspension on them and everything because they get real heavy. But it's great. We can run some of our GMCs, some of our Rams with that armor on them. I mean, we've transported jewels, we've transported firearms, we've transported artwork, gold. You'd be surprised too how heavy gold is. Like you get up into the $5 million, $6 million worth of gold, and it's like 200, 300 pounds, and that's $6 million. That's it. It's this big, and it's 300 pounds, and it's $6 million. It's crazy.
Well, in all the movies, I see guys moving gold. You can tell.
So if you've ever gotten to lift a brick, it'll surprise you. You think it's this big, and you pick it up. No, it's like yeah, that's got some heft to it.
Well, it reminds me of when I was in the military and guys would transport nuclear weapons and things like that. They always had a couple, a lead and a follow car while they're on the road. You might not know what that truck is doing, but it has a couple of GMCs out there, black cars with armed guards going through it. Okay. Now, I know you all specialize in training also. So tell us a little bit about the training that you do, the different types of training.
Yeah, great. So we do training. Obviously, we have our internal training, but we also offer specialized classes in the community, and also right now with COVID times via Zoom. We have an intro to executive protection and planning class, which is really great, especially for people really looking at getting into the executive protection industry. Kind of lays the basics, and also we really instill our values in what we believe executive protection needs to be. That white glove type of service. One of my favorite things to say is the big bad brainless bodyguard is bunk. Right? We talk about, how the executive protection industry, everyone thinks, this big tough guy, in black shades and everything like that. It is so much mental. It's so much planning. That's one of the most important things. You have to have a plan. You have to have a backup plan. You have to have a backup to the backup. So with that executive protection class, we go through some of the basics of executive protection, underline, how important having those hard skills are, the shooting, medical, driving, those things, they're very important. But we really want to talk about, the brain work. And we also give our students an opportunity to do a pre-plan of an executive protection operation, so they can really go through, design a whole advanced operation, and then the next class period, because that's a two class one, we go through everyone's plan, we pick it apart, we find things that we need to change, we find things that make us better, which is great, because I've had some students who have brought forth some plans of like, this is spectacular, these are things that you're bringing that I'm learning a little bit about too. So that's one of my favorite classes, and I love the Zoom classes. I love the live classes because it really allows a lot of back and forth questions, interaction, so we can really get to the root of what we're trying to learn.
So I want to explore that just a little bit, because, well, two things you said about that. First of all, executive protection. I want to talk about. I'll get back to that, but with the training. Of course, I did executive protection, and when I went to school, we had to do actually hands-on, like you said, the shooting, defensive tactics, getting the guy into the car, driving, J-turns, all that good stuff. How are you dealing with that with Zoom now and doing the, and now we can't meet each other and do all the physical stuff? How are you making amends for that?
And that's the big thing, if you look at like places like EPI, they have a great hands-on course, right? And that's very, very hands-on. And that's kind of the difficulty right now, especially with a lot of COVID restrictions over the last year with the COVID restrictions and everything. How could we develop a class where we can go through the executive protection industry, but understand that just like right now, you can't grab me. We talk about like the wars, the within arm's reach. Who's within arm's reach, right? Well, I can't reach over and grab you. Right. You can't reach over and grab me. We can't practice any of those combatives. We can't practice any of those movements. So we really have to take it more to a cerebral level, And I don't know if you played football or anything, when the coach would always say to the backups, make sure you're getting your mental reps in. Make sure you're getting your mental reps in. And so that's one of the big things I try to highlight with this, especially in these times with this social distancing, those problems in those training scenarios, is trying to make sure people can, do that mental homework, do those mental reps, and understand that, this class can give you an introduction. It can give you a good start on all the brain work, the thinking skills that you're going to need, the things about being situationally aware. But to understand too, it's very, very important. You might not need those hard skills, shooting, driving, 100 times, right? But the 101st time you might. So it's important that you have to have them. And when you need them to be at the very top of their game.
Well, what I like about your approach is that, yes. Well, here's the thing. Do I really need to practice over and over again, bending somebody over and shoving them in the car? And what I like about your approach is that a lot of people don't realize the mental game that you spoke about in this field. I would fly out a week ahead of time or 2 weeks ahead of time to do an advance to prepare for the movements. I had to think about my routes. I had to think about how I'm going to get somebody in and out of this building safely. The threat, investigating the threat, all that goes into it. It was a small part of just, maybe getting ready to shove the guy in the car and making our movements. So I like the way you're doing it, because really, like you said, playing football, we would visualize the plays and watch play tape. I really believe you can teach your way, speak about what needs to happen, maybe show some videos of somebody actually doing it, and you can still ingrain it and teach people the same way, especially nowadays when it's not going back to the way it used to be. So we have to train people a new way and think of new ways of doing it. And I know that with ESI, I saw ESI in Black Belt Magazine 40 years ago, and I enrolled in their online training program. Now back then it was online, and then you had to go to the school for 2 weeks. But but the online was good enough back then. So I think the way you're doing is with video and everything, and we can demonstrate now. You can show a video of your folks in training. I think it's going to be very thorough training still. And a lot of the guys in the industry are like, nah, you got to get out there in the field. Now maybe for driving and all that, because you got to learn how to do the J turns and all that. But 80% of it can be taught the way you're teaching it now. Now, my other question about this was that you mentioned your philosophy around this field, executive protection. We're going to get to some other stuff, but this is interesting because nowadays what I see is that the executive protection professional wants to be a celebrity. You have all these celebrity guys. My job is to be not seen. You might except for me being 270, you wouldn't know that I'm there protecting someone. What's your thought on this new breed of Instagram celebrity protector?
So here's the thing about, you either want to be a celebrity or you want to be in this business. And there's no in between. There's no one or the other, right? Confidentiality has to be the number one thing that every person in the executive protection industry must maintain 100%. Now, I'm not saying someone's doing something illegal that you have to, no, but here's the thing. Your job is to protect this person. It's not to be on Instagram. It's not talk about how Ellen's mean. It's not, and this is one of the things that drives me crazy. If you want to be a professional executive protection agent, you are going to be privy to the most private moments of this person's life. And your job as an executive protection agent is to protect this person physically, yes, but also financially, also reputationally, protect them emotionally, protect the, there's facets to this business. And like I said, like that big bad brainless bodyguard is bunk, right? Yeah, I can go down to the college and pull a football player, and football, not to say football players don't make great EP agents, later on or whatever, and just grab a guy with no trainer or whatever, and he's just huge, and I can throw him in a black shirt and have him walk by me all the time. I don't have an executive protection agent, right? But confidentiality. Our clients have to be able to trust us with their lives, right? And so, and their lives, that's a multifaceted thing. It's not just their heart beating. That is the people they love, the people they trust, their money, their reputation.
Yep, reputation. Yes.
That's the biggest thing. If you want to be a celebrity, there's like, you do TikTok, you can do all those kind of things, but don't put yourself out there as someone who represents, that close protection industry.
Well, what I see is these guys out there now posing with the stars, posing with their executive so they can post it on Instagram. I know that everything now is be on YouTube, be on Instagram, be on all these things. And that brings businesses in. If I'm standing next to, I don't know, Kevin Costner or Waka Flocka or whatever. Yeah. But to me, that's not the professionalism of our industry. I shouldn't be doing that because I'm not, let me say this, Nick, if I was your protective service agent and I'm in the news for punching the guy in the mouth, they're not going to look at me. They're going to be looking at you.
That's exactly right. Yeah. That's exactly right. And I mean, that's why, confidentiality is, especially with our company, with me personally, that's always been a number one thing, right? We don't talk about who our clients are. We don't talk about what we do. There's an OPSEC issue to that. There's also just a pride,
integrity.
Yeah. Integrity thing. Here's the thing. If we're having a conversation, let's say, a conversation about executive protection, someone comes and is like, I protected, Ellen, or I protected, Kevin Costner. It's like, I know that. Yeah. Well, I know that's the pinnacle of where you were. Right. And that's fine. But the thing is I know also that you like to talk about who you've worked with. So now I can go back and I can say, okay, who's he worked with? What are his connections? And there's an intelligence analysis portion with that. Mm-hmm. So now all of a sudden I can make a whole big spider board of who are you connected to, who's important to you, who are these other people connected to, who can I talk to get some more information about this, you know, and then there's a whole rabbit's hole information I can try to get, you know. But one of the big things that bugs me, yeah, you saw it, like I think there were some news articles about, you know, agents complaining about their clients or whatever, or saying they're bad people or whatever. It's like, you got to understand too, especially in the executive protection industry, people who need executive protection live in a different type of world than you or I might in our everyday world. It's different. They don't wait in line.
Yeah.
No. When they talk, they expect that everyone's going to listen. You know, it's a different world.
And it's a small world, because if you get a bad reputation out there, you'll never work again. I have one more question about that, and then we'll move on. But do you think there needs to be a different type of protection agent for celebrities versus executives and corporations and things like that? Do you think you need a different type of person, or is it the same? Is it the same protector? Because the celebrities are going to be out there and be seen all the time. Executives are not. You know, they're going to be Elon Musk, and you don't even know who his protection team is. Does that take a different type of person?
I think it's something that, you know, that agent themselves has to decide kind of the area they want to move into.
Okay. Right?
If it's something that's going to be a celebrity, understand, you know, that you might be in a paparazzi photo, right? And my big thing is, like, if someone else took the photo and they posted it up, you know, whatever, as long as you're not taking the selfie and posting it, I was like, here I am with, you know, whomever, you know. But I think it depends on the agent. They have to know that there's a certain level of carnival around the celebrity world of executive protection, and there's a certain level of there's more of a low-key, low visibility level that's very, very important when it comes to that corporate world, when it comes to some of your other executive protection details.
Well, I think you made a great point, because if I'm going to get in that field, I know that if I'm going to be guarding a rapper or a movie star, I'm probably going to be in bars fighting all the time, you know. But if I'm guarding Elon Musk, I'm probably never going to have to be involved in a fight or pull my weapon. So I guess I got to realize, which way do I want to go, you know?
Exactly. And that's why it's very, very important. And we talk about in that intro class, to understand who your client is. Mm-hmm. You know, are they loud and boisterous? You know, what industry are they in? Do they have people that are mad at them? You know, if something starts to go wrong, do they get upset? Do they get quiet? Do they cry easily?
Yeah.
You have to really, really get to know your client in a very personal sense, in that professional way, to understand if a situation's going on, what are they going to do? If something goes bad, have I talked with my client beforehand? Have I did a little secret, you know, a little bit of training without them even knowing about what to do in these bad situations? Have I set that up so we can be ready if we need to move quickly, if we have a signal that we need to go, you know? Or is the client going to get up and, you know, someone's is coming over to cause a problem? You know, you're doing your job to mitigate that problem, and then your client gets up and wants to make the problem worse. You know,
you made a really good point where, you know, we often are looking for a job or begging for a job. But I think you made a good point where we're a business, and we want to choose the clients we want to work with. So I don't want to choose to work with that type of client. I mean, they come to me, I'm like, I really need this job. No, I'm a professional. They're going to come to me because they know I'm a professional. They can count on me and trust me, and I get to choose which clients I want to work with.
That's exactly right. And I think that's a problem that some people newer in the industry, they want to do this job. You know, they want to be in security, executive protection. So they're like, what is it? Okay, I'll just do it. And it's really important to make sure that you fit with the client, that you're comfortable working with this client. Because here's the thing. I mean, if you boil everything down to everything's gone bad, everything's gone terrible, is this something where it's like someone might shoot you and you will get shot to protect this client?
Yeah.
You know, so it's one of those things. That's one of the things, you know, Elite Tactical is very, very, very fortunate in that we're kind of a boutique, you know, security. We're not huge. We're not AUS. We're not G4S. You know, we're not this giant monolithic company. So I get to personally know the agents that work for me. They've all eaten dinner with me, which is important.
Well, you know what else is good about that? You get to choose what kind of brand you want to be. You can be that celebrity brand, or you can be that. You just said a boutique brand. I'm a specialized boutique brand. If you want a certain kind of service, come to Elite, and you'll get that. So I like that. Yeah. So you mentioned executive protection. We really dove into that briefly. What are some of the other training areas that you specialize in?
Oh yeah, we do cannabis security.
Yeah. Now keep that one because I want to come back to that. Okay. I saw that on the website. I want to come back to that. What else?
We do medical response for security and executive protection professionals, which I do. Obviously, I'm a paramedic and I geek out on that stuff a little bit. We also do physical security, which is great for setting up people to be prepared to protect a facility. So it's more of a uniformed facility security, but it can translate into a lot of different areas. And we also do house of worship security, which is actually really, really important to me. That's one of our big things with Elite Tactos. We give free consultations to every single house of worship that asks for one. So yeah, no charge. Doesn't matter what religion, whether it's a mosque, synagogue, church, whatever. One of our founding principles, is we believe in America being about freedom, and that means for people to be free and secure to be who they are and worship in the way they feel fit. So.
Well, it's interesting because I just saw a job I had never heard of this before. I knew there are churches and there's mega churches. I never realized the state of security. Just last week, I saw a vice president of security for a mega church that's right down the street from me, over a 6-figure salary, and this person was over several church annexes. Had like a force. I didn't know church security was that serious. I guess that's becoming a big thing, especially with people having shootings in churches and things like that. Is that a big thing for you? A large source of not just revenue, but interest of people coming to you for church security?
Yeah, that's one of the big things. And what we do in a lot of times is help houses of worship, churches, synagogues, mosques, and everything set up their security program. Obviously. Some people talk about having armed security versus unarmed security. What's better in this situation? With a lot of stuff, I always say that having a security officer be your armed people is always a good idea. There's a lot of liability issues you can have with having a concealed carry person be technically a security, officer or a security personnel for your church and everything. But that's one of the big things, especially I think it was the Tree of Life synagogue shooting that happened in Pittsburgh. I think that was 2 years ago now. That's something to show churches are, for the most part, a pretty soft target, and you can find people who are going to be, engaged in another activity and not necessarily situationally aware of what's going on, and you can come and attack them. And you think about how most churches are lined up, are set up, you come in, everyone's facing the other way,
before anybody even knows it, we can have a lot of casualties.
Immediately. So that's one of the big things is helping to create, a security program, and some things are basic, like where's the lighting at night at this church? Are these, where are the kids at during church? Do we have these drills in place? Do we have a response team? Do we need a counter assault team? Where, and I always love the from training day, it takes a wolf to catch a wolf.
Yep.
I always try to think, and I think everyone who does any sort of security consultation planning, you have to think like the bad guy. What's the bad guy going to come up with? Because good guys think like good guys, and we don't think about some of the things bad guys will do. And
I can really see that being an issue for a church leader. He can't put himself in the mindset of what this attacker might do to them. Because they're looking at relatively good,
Yeah.
So like you come in and say, well, let me give you the reality.
And that's hard to do because that's going into a dark area. And we need people who, especially if you think about a church leader, they need to be able to lift people up. They want to take people who are having problems and lift them up, and we've even talked, with some of the places, going through, security plans with them, having a tiered approach, with their security. There's some opportunities in a house of worship where people who might be a security risk, not necessarily an active shooter. Obviously, an active shooter, you got to stop it. Number one in the red zone, best medicine to stop the killing.
Mm-hmm.
But some people that seem like, a disturbance, something like that, having a first line security team, not necessarily drag them out, pull them out, take them out of there, because this is houses of worships are houses of healing,
Mm-hmm.
right? Damaged people come to houses of healing, right? That's who we need to talk to. So really helping them set up a program that keeps their people safe, but also addresses the security concerns, and also, engages with this person who is a security concern to start seeing if this is something that is a ministry issue that we can talk about bringing them and helping to heal that person. One of the examples was someone who had been drinking, and they came to church because they were angry at God.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's not an active shooter situation, but it's a security concern, right? And that was great because they're able to respond, get kind of the outburst stopped, get them over in a separate area, have one of their ushers and their security people there, have someone who could come and minister to that person and talk to that person, and it ended up, in hugs, and that person's now a member of their church.
And, you think about executive protection, where you don't want to embarrass the person you're protecting. So I wouldn't walk up to somebody in the crowd and smack them in the mouth. I might walk up and put them in a hole and just walk them out, and you never know what happened. I assume the church had to operate kind of like that too. You don't want a big outburst in the church. But I just didn't know the churches until I saw this job. I didn't know the churches had security plans and emergency response plans and all that.
You think about like some of those mega churches, full of 20, 30,000 people. That's a college campus. That's a football stadium.
Yes.
You're talking about multiple security personnel. All your audio visual, all your communications. And the thing is that's a significant terrorist target.
Yep.
For anyone. We have the Tri-Faith Initiative here in Omaha, which is really, really great. It's a Temple Israel, so it's a Jewish synagogue, a Christian church, and a Muslim mosque, all on the same piece of land, right? And it's great because it's they all work with each other, talk with each other, share about each other, and so that's one of the things. It's like that's something that a lot of different places don't like.
So you made an important point. When you're dealing with these different doctrines, religions, and things like that, do you have to change your style, or you stick with, I'm doing security? It doesn't really matter. I mean, how does that work when you're dealing with the different type of doctrines and religions and things?
It's important. It's important to, obviously you have your security training, you have the things, it's important to, just like knowing any client, do some research, if you're talking with an imam versus a rabbi versus a reverend, understand, what is what are the core what's this church about? What are the things that are important to them? What are some of their customs, things that they hold very, very dear? It's just like deploying into another country. You don't want to be offensive.
That's right.
And accidentally offensive. Because that can really damage relationship, and you don't want the relationship damaged, because honestly, what you want, number one, is for people to be safe.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And if things get messed up, now you can't help them stay safe.
So that's very interesting. But I want to get into something I think is even more interesting.
Okay.
I mean, there's this new field now, and the first time I've seen it was on your website, and that's the cannabis security. So what is that about, and what are you starting to see in that industry? 'Cause I never thought about it, but you have these large plants that when I say plant, I don't mean a plant. I mean a manufacturer of cannabis, and those things have to be protected. And I just never thought about that either. So what are some of the things you've seen out there around that?
So one of the big things, so it all depends on whether or not THC or CBD, those are the two different main compounds, in the cannabis plant is your main product. THC, marijuana, it's federally illegal, but there's a lot of states, that have it legalized, medical and recreational marijuana. And then in most places, CBD is legal, or hemp. But the big thing is understanding that, especially right now with the federal illegality, it's uninsurable, it's untraceable. It has to be cash transactions, right? So you're looking at a facility that has to do cash transactions. with a product that's very, very expensive and has a significant street value if it's stolen. So if you're looking at CBD manufacturer, distribution and sales, really the biggest thing you need to think about is actually facility and machinery security itself. The machines, the facility itself is the most valuable stuff. CBD doesn't have a high street value. There's not going to be a big hit. It's not going to be a huge.
Nobody wants to steal that.
No one's going to steal that. I mean, there's some great benefits. I've taken the cannabis professional certificate from Doane University. I've done extensive research, in best practice for secure transport, lockout, tagout. But it's
I was gonna grab mine. I was gonna say I've used it for my knees.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things. The CBD, CBG, the terpenes, the THC. They all have great impact on arthritis, inflammation, seizures, anxiety. There's something like 200 different pharmaceuticals that would be obsolete with the use of cannabis. But the big thing is you have to understand that, especially when it comes to like secure transport, when it comes to facility security, it's very important to have background checks, and have someone watching someone all the time, because it's just a really expensive cash crop, and everything right now, especially, has to be done in cash.
So is there a large demand for specialists like you who specialize in security of cannabis? Because one of the important things you say, you're not just a security guard showing up to guard these. You've actually gotten certifications and taken classes and understanding their mindsets, what they're doing, and understanding the business. Is there a big demand for your business, or is it kind of building, or are you educating them and it's growing because of that?
The biggest thing is I've seen it, obviously California, Colorado, I've seen it growing. And also, we talk about even in Washington, D.C., they're moving towards federal legalization, which opens everything up. It's something where if you've heard about it, it's already too late, right, to get in on it. They talk about, like, on Wall Street, it's like, if you're hearing about this new stock to get in on, it's already too late. You should have got in on it 2 months ago.
Bitcoin. You can't get Bitcoin now. It's too late.
Right? When I looked to buy GameStop in January, well, that wasn't the time. I should have bought it back in the summer, right? But I've seen a lot of entrepreneurs start to look to setting up these processing facilities, grow houses. Because here's the thing with especially with THC cannabis plants, you have to grow them indoors. Outdoors is too. There's bees and bugs and everything cross-pollinating, and everything has to be precise. It's all about quality and getting exactly what you want, for your product. So it has to be an interior facility. You have to have the equipment to be able to either, extract that THC or extract those chemicals to make your vapes or your candies or to get, so there's all the facility security. And it's something that's starting to grow. I'm getting more and more calls.
So I think that's the great thing about it. You're in on the ground floor, and we're just that much into this industry. It's going to do this, and you're going to do that with it. So you said you started to get calls.
Yeah, starting to get calls. And originally in 2018 when we started, I was like, this could be something. We should look into cannabis. This could be something. As things progress. There's a lot of green in green. There's a lot of money in there. There's a lot of way to help a lot of people too. But it's mostly a lot of money.
Well, I want to say something to folks watching this. You just said something that's very important. You recognize something happening in the world or in different industries, and you say, how can we get a piece of that from the security industry? Because we can really be involved in any industry. But you reckon, now people are looking at Bitcoin security and how we can secure that. It won't be a security thing, but I'm in cybersecurity. Now people are like, how can we secure Bitcoin? I've read about people losing the hard drive with their Bitcoin on it, and it's worth $340 million or something. They have no idea where it is. So there's so many things, but I like that you anticipate, you're evaluating how you can do this, and then you're taking advantage of what you're saying. So, so that's very interesting. I know you spent a lot of time on that, but I thought it was a very interesting subject when I read it. You're doing church security, or religion security. I don't know what you're calling it.
Yeah, we just call it house of worship. It's
House of worship security.
Wherever.
And then you're doing the cannabis security. I thought that was very unique. I hadn't seen many firms websites saying they're doing that, so that's pretty good. So let me ask you this: so what are you currently focused on? What is your company and Elite Tactical and yourself? What are you doing right now that's your next thing or your big focus right now?
So big focus is we actually are looking at some big facility contracts to kind of pigtail off the cannabis thing. Big facility contracts. That's one of our big things we're looking at right now, and that's very, very exciting. Let's see. The big thing is I wrote a few things down here. The big thing is also getting word out on our classes that we're doing, kind of expanding the professionalism of the whole industry, security, whether it's uniform security, whether it's facility security, whether it's executive protection, expanding that professionalism, helping people have that education, have that confidence in themselves to come and say, okay, I'm a security agent, I'm a security guard, I'm a security officer.
Proud of it.
and proud of it. And it's not an $11 an hour job. It's not.
Well, let me tell you, here, my brother is a security officer here. He's been doing it for 16 years, and he keeps wanting to get into something else. But my brother makes $70,000 a year doing it. He makes over $30 an hour. So security can be, I know in some places it's going to be $10 an hour. But security, what I'm trying to do is just like you, I'm trying to professionalize security. But number one, you're proud to say you're a security officer, not like, I'm a security guard, I'm a security officer. And also professionalize the training and get people to recognize for what it is. In the DC area where I am, they have this saying, when somebody is not doing well in their career or whatever, he has a security guard mentality. And I hate hearing that because when you look at security guards in the old days, we were down in the basement. We're the lowest paid guys, and basically nobody really cared about. We don't bring any profit in. We're a cost center to most organizations. So people really look down upon us, and I really want to change that view. You're going to say something.
That's exactly right. I mean, this is a professional, professional position, and there's a lot of places, and I hate to see it, especially with large corporations, multinational, monolithic security companies, that are banking billions of dollars in profits every year. And then you go and they have a person that works security that's boots on the ground, and that person is making $10 an hour, right? Well, first off, you've told that person that, here's your uniform. The most expensive, the most important thing about you is just the uniform. That's the only thing that's worth anything, is just the uniform with our logo on it. And that's ridiculous. We want to be able to change that mentality, calling people a security guard mentality. No, this is a security professional, right? When things go bad, first off, they're going to see when things are starting to go bad, be able to anticipate those problems, be able to have that situational awareness, be able to keep people safe, and be able to mitigate a problem if necessary. And that's what a security professional does. I would see like Paul Blart, the mall cop, and everything, and they make a lot of funny jokes and he's funny, he's heavy, like but if you take away all the comedy and everything, is like look at Paul Blart, the mall cop. It's like what was he doing? He was literally trying to help people and protect people the entire time, and everyone gave him grief about it the entire time.
Well, Nick, think about this. People always talk about corporation. They say the first person you see is the receptionist. And people are like, I'm a receptionist, but the receptionists give the impression of the firm. If that's the first person I walk up to and they give me a bad time, I'm going to think bad about everybody else. And people even say they judge folks on how they treat the receptionist. Mm-hmm. Think about security is the same thing. I walk into a building. What's the first thing I'm going to see? Somebody standing there at the desk or whatever in a sharp uniform, looking good, not stains on his shirt, not shirts hanging out, whatever, looking like a professional. They give the first impression about that company. If I walk into Elon Musk's company, I bet his security staff is sharp, not just a bunch of guys sitting around, I don't know, smoking and eating apples or whatever you want to say. So I've been in this profession since I was 17 years old. And I'm 57 now. So I really don't like that security guard mentality thing because, but let me say this, Nick. I think one of the things security guards need to do, though, is look at it as a profession and how they can progress. I belong to some security groups, and I post about being a private investigator. Like, I don't want to be a private investigator. That's boring. I just sit and do surveillance all day. I said, well, you sit on a post all day, so what's the difference? And if you want to be a guard, that's fine. I'm not knocking that in an officer or whatever, but maybe we should treat it like a police department. The next thing is be an investigator. You can work for a security company, do background investigations, do other type of corporate investigations. Maybe we should look at their career progression, and now it becomes a career. I'm a certified arson investigator working for Ally or for Elite Tactical. I'm a certified this. I'm a certified legal investigator. What's your thoughts on maybe professionalizing it that way?
You know, that's exactly my thoughts on it. Being able to say this is a security professional career, you know, and being able to offer those, you know, those career paths for people, you know, to go exactly how far they want to go. Yep. You know, people are going to college, people are taking the training, you know, they're pushing themselves to be the best they can, you know, and they're pushing themselves not because they're motivated, it's because they have the self-discipline to continue to push themselves when it's not fun, when there's, you know, class and work and a family and kids, and you got to do all those things right now, right? And they push through and they stay up late and they work on moving themselves forward in the security profession, you know, and that's really the big thing, especially being a smaller company, that we've tried to find those people that want to keep pushing to be better. I would take it as a huge compliment if in 5 years, you know, several of my own agents here split off and made their own executive protection company. I'd be like, that's exactly right. Go and do this. What can I do to help you to keep you moving up? Go move to a different territory, but also.
Well, or look at it this way. They're not my competitors. Now they're, you know, you can work together, you can subcontract, you know.
Yeah, they're colleagues. Yeah, it's like, hey, what do we need to do? Hey, you want to set up in St. Louis? Hey, you want to set up in Kansas City? You want to set up in Chicago? What can we do to help you be successful there right now? We as a company aren't going there to be based right now, but you are. What can we do to set you up right now? Okay, hey, if we got someone going to Chicago, let's collaborate. We've got something in between, let's collaborate. You got someone coming here, let's collaborate. You know, creating, instead of a competition where everyone's, I'll charge you $50. Well, I'll charge you $40. Oh, then I'll charge you $30. I'll charge you $20.
It hurts all of us. That hurts all of us.
Yeah, that's just killing ourselves. Instead, being able to have that open discussion, open dialogue, like how can we help each other be better, be more professional, provide a better service, and how can we also not stab each other, security professionals in the back for $1, for $5.
Look at it this way. So I get a phone call because the Olympics are going to be here, and I call Elite Security, and they need 20 protective service agents. And now instead of competition, you have colleagues that you can call up and say, we got this big gig. I need 20 guys from around the country for this Olympics. So we talked a lot about Elite. We talked a lot about the industry. Let's get back to you.
Okay.
So how did you get started in all this? Because you're doing a lot of great things. The company's doing a lot of great things, but let's roll it back to how you got into this industry in the first place.
Rolling it back, all the way back, we would go to, let's see, I was back from college, and then
dude, you look like you just got out of college like 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah, almost 40.
Okay.
It's the light. I put that softening light.
Okay.
So you can tell. It's a
filter. You feel like a linebacker. So
it's a filter.
Uh-huh.
It's not a cat filter. But gosh, so we go back to it would be 2006. 2006 was when I actually first started in the security industry, and that was bouncing at a place in Omaha called Club Nico. Right, and so we had the suits, ties, the whole nice thing, and that was right after I had won the Golden Gloves. I had won the Midwest Regional Golden Gloves here in the area. And then Terrence Crawford was on that same team. And I always used to say Terrence Crawford, you know, he's the welterweight champion of the world right now. I always used to say Terrence Crawford was on my team. But as time went on, I realized that I was just on his team.
Okay. I thought you were going to tell me you beat him a few times.
Oh, no. I was a heavyweight. He was way small. Okay. But here's the thing. He was way small. He probably could have beat me. But yeah, it was 2006. So I'd won the Golden Gloves.
So before you start, I want to ask you a question, because you said something. You said you were a bouncer, and the first thing I thought of was a guy in a t-shirt and jeans at a club. But you said that you guys had suits and ties, and so you already were starting off. You got early in your career professionalism. It sounds like
right off the bat. And the thing was, Club Nico was the premier club in Omaha.
Okay,
whatever that means, you know, Omaha is no, but it was a great club. It had like this Chinese pagoda look, Britney Spears came and partied there. That was really cool. I got to see Britney Spears. She had her own security people there. But yeah, it was very, very classy. There's the dress code. It was a really the high class best club in Omaha. And I was fortunate enough for my first real foray into any type of security world was starting to work with those guys working on that security team there, which is really, we had the little earpieces, the little microphone, everything, wearing suits, and everything was all about de-escalation. It was all about being respectful, and it was all about knowing that you had people there to back you up, but also knowing that these are the rules and these are the rules we have to follow. And if we must, we're going to make you leave, and that was one of my big things is that de-escalation. And I really learned a lot of it there because you have people having alcohol, wanting to be cool in front of girls. You start to learn that de-escalation. You start to learn to let people have their outs, right? It doesn't matter what they say to me. They don't know me. They don't know my mom. The words that they're going to say are unimportant.
You learn patience. That's for sure.
Yeah. You learn that patience, and you learn to kind of separate them away and be able to give them in that out. It's one of those things like, you'd come up and it's like, sir, I'm going to have to ask you to leave today. It's time for you to go. Oh, I was like, sir, we would love to have you back tomorrow. Not a problem at all. But right now we really need you to go, and then, and the nice thing too, was while either I or another person was doing this and talking to this person, you had two other guys that were over here that they didn't even know about. And you had another two guys over here that were watching everything else going on over here. So it was a really great backup, great setup, and I really learned how to be patient, learn some de-escalation stuff. And every once in a while, learn to not be surprised if things go bad all of a sudden and be prepared for that. Understand if someone starts blading their body, what does that mean? Understand that body language, understand if they're,
So it sounds like you got some really good lessons in that first job.
It was right off the bat, and it's one of those things too. You think of all the distractions going on in the club, dance club, the lights, the stuff where, you can't hardly hear people,
So what came back? Oh, I'm sorry. What came after that? What was your next thing?
After that,
walk me through the progression.
After that, I actually got hired on the Omaha Fire Department. And then I worked on the fire department and as a firefighter and paramedic. So I worked on trucks, ambulances, engines, been fires, delivered 8 babies. And then I started working for another company that did a lot of events, the College World Series. So I started working that kind of in my spare time, just as a side job, just to make some extra money, help buy a house, help get things going in my life. And then as I was going through, I noticed, here was the paychecks, and the paychecks were not the greatest, started talking with other, security personnel, and understands like there was a general apathy, in the service that they're providing, and understands like, this isn't how I like to function in an organization, in a group that feels apathetic, that feels like, yeah, what do we do? And we stand here and, we just make sure whatever, I don't know, like just look tough. Tough. Yeah. What's the training we have? Your training is try to have an angry face. Like, okay. And the thing that was really interesting, I ended up getting on the Omaha Fire Department's Infectious Disease Response Team, which is like their Ebola unit. We deal with Ebola, those kind of things. We put on all the gear and everything. And that gave me a great opportunity to talk to some people that were on some of those black C-130s, without any markings on them. I was able to talk with some of those people. We ended up going to a place called Havana Cigar, having some cigars, having some drinks, and talking about, what makes someone elite, what makes someone, what makes someone get someone a tactical mind frame. It's where we got our name from and everything, and starting to talk with them, and they talk about discipline and motivation, and motivation. Talking with those guys while we're having cigars, and these are guys that have been in scary places doing scary things. Yes. And talking with them, they talked about motivation. They're like, motivation is nothing. Like motivation is here one day, it's gone the next day. What's your motivation? It's like, there's all these outside things and you want them to make you do something. It's like, that's not how it works. It has to be from within you, and then you put it out into the world. It has to be discipline. It is going to be at 4 a.m. You are not going to want to wake up because it is cold, or you are tired, or you have all these other things you need to do, but you have to get up and you have to work out. And it's going to be terrible. You have to go through these classes and listen to the instructor. And some of them are boring. Statistics class. Oh my gosh. Oh geez. It's like, guess what? Those statistics and knowing those numbers gives you a heads up, when it comes to intelligence analysis. It's like, what's going to happen in this situation? Here's the likelihood over here, the likelihood over here. That's statistics, So after talking with those guys, then, and then I had the fire department job, and then this security gig. And then that was at the point when me and my wife, we were just like, why don't we start a company and use these principles of trying to be the best that we can be, trying to make sure our employees, our agents, our family is the best it can be. Because that's the thing. All of our agents have all eaten dinner with me. They've sat at the table. I know their families, which is important too. If you have $6 million of gold in your truck.
Yes, that's true.
And everyone has guns, and you turn around like this. Mm-hmm. You have to have eaten with these people. You got to make sure. And that's really what pushed us, to be the best we can be. So that's when I started taking classes with the Center for Homeland Defense and Security. Started taking with the Defense Counterintelligence. And the nice thing too is, being a City of Omaha firefighter, I was able to get some classes, get some stuff through FEMA, get some stuff through the DHS. That some people wouldn't necessarily be able to get, but that it gave me a great hold on the incident command system, the national incident management system, understanding, a span of control, how many people you need, understanding all, all those type of things. And it's really been a big thing to keep pushing. And really, in the last few years, originally in 2018 and 2019, it was me and one other person being elite tactical. We had some gigs in Minneapolis, in Denver, in Missouri, outside of Chicago. We'd go to these different places and run these operations. And the big thing was, as we got a little bit bigger, we were able to bring on some more employees. And it was just like, it's kind of like that pyramid. It was just us. And it's like, okay, we move up. Now we got a few more people, and these are the people doing all this stuff. Now we move up. Now we got a few more people, and these are the guys doing all this stuff. And I teased the other day, we had a team meeting with everyone, and I told everyone, it's like, I don't really get to do any cool operations anymore.
Yes.
Like, well, what do you mean? It's like, I'm burned. I'm burnt. It's like, my face is right next to the company all the time. My face is right, is having to post stuff to try and push our brand, push our image, do these things. Like, I'm burned. I'm not going to get to do cool stuff anymore.
What people don't realize is that as the company owner, we don't get to do the fun. If we got into it because we love security and investigations, we don't get to do security investigations anymore. You got to run a business now. You got to become a business person.
That was the biggest thing in 2018 when it started. Is like, you know what? I had this security job, and this wasn't what I want to be in security. Okay, I'll make the security job that I want in security. It's like, I'm learning these things. I'm learning the hard skills. I'm learning the white glove service. I'm learning this stuff. Now I'm going to go out and, as an independent contractor or with my business, right? Really important to have a business so you can do your taxes correctly and you can get these things written off.
Right.
So now I'm out and I'm doing something really, really cool with some interesting people, and we're moving something across the country, and now I'm doing these operations, and it's really, really exciting. And then it goes on. It's like, yeah, no, you're not anymore. It's like someone else is doing that, and you're supervising that they're doing that.
And
like,
growing the business. It's a business. You still got to grow the business. You got to bring more business in. You got to get these cannabis plants and these houses of worship. So it changes. But you said, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
The nice thing is I am able to, keep on the instructor side, which is one of my favorite things. Originally, way back when I went to school to be a teacher, and it's one of my favorite things is even with all the business stuff I have to do with the operation planning stuff, and not necessarily getting to be boots on the ground anymore, I still get to do all the instruction, internal training with our agents, which is a lot of fun, especially when COVID is not happening. We get to, pull out the blue guns and get weird.
Yes.
But the EP training, seeing new people come in, people that are interested in learning about something that I really love, the cannabis security, all these different, classes I can give, our situational awareness class that we give, all these different classes, and being able to teach and share and have that interaction is really, really exciting.
And that keeps your skills sharp. And let me tell you, not only that, but I don't care what anybody says. If you don't do those kind of things, your people in the field is going to say, corporate has lost touch. They don't know what's going on anymore. They haven't been in the field in 20 years.
Yeah.
At least they know that you're out there doing it also. And I want to say something that you talked about that I really love. You talked about motivation, and it has to go beyond that. Because even in leadership, I'm a leadership professor at a college, and we talk about motivation. Motivation only gets you so far. You're only motivated, here's a check, when I have something that's going to motivate you. And once that motivation is gone, you're going to stop doing it. And I really love that you said to be elite tactical, you have to have it in you, self-motivation. You have to want to do it because you want to do it, not because somebody's paying me, not because, there's a reward coming. Because, Derek, I see myself as a protector. I've been a protector. I was in 3 military services and now Coast Guard and law enforcement because that's what I want to be. And it wasn't because of the paycheck. I got a lot of people. I'm in cybersecurity. A lot of people want to come into cybersecurity because they're like, it pays a lot. I'm like, no, but you have to realize, just like our field, Nick, constant study, lifelong learning, industry changes. You got to change. When a hacker changes, you have to change. Yeah. When executive protection or security or fire, whatever changes, you have to change because technologies change. So you got to want to be in this business. And I think you want to be in this business. You demonstrated that.
Yeah, that's exactly it. You have to decide who you are, right? None of the outside forces get to decide who you are as a person, as a man, as a person, as a security professional. You get to decide that. With the choices that you make, I might have a donut, might eat healthy today. Yeah. I've had a few donuts.
Yeah.
But am I going to train or am I going to mess around on my video games?
Yes.
Am I going to do dry fire drills or am I going to, I don't know, take a nap? And those are choices, that you have to make. And decide who you are. It comes back to integrity. It comes back to professionalism. There's a $5 bill laying on a table. It's not yours. No one's around. No one's around in the world. There's no cameras. It's not a trap. What do? You take it. Who you are some of the time is who you are all of the time. You're either a person that that slacks off, that takes the shortcut, that goes for the easy way out, or you're a leader that allows people to slack off, take that shortcut, take that easy way out, or you're not. And that's really, you have to define yourself.
Well, yeah, I like it into, I'm a martial artist. I have several black belts in the martial arts. But here's the thing. I have friends who are black belts, but haven't lifted a foot in 20 years. Hey, I'm a black belt. I still practice the martial arts. I still take martial arts today. I was just talking to my my instructor, because school just opened back up. I had my shot. I can go back in there. But my thing is this: you train like you fight, and if you're going to be, you got to stay sharp with your tools. And these are our tools. Now I'm 57. I'm not going to be out there throwing kicks at your face anymore like I used to. I'm going to kick you in your ankle now. Yeah. But I still need to know how to do those things. I'm going to bite you in the ankles now instead. So let me get to some of the questions, because I love to ask questions to the folks. It's been a great conversation. I took a lot of time doing that. But what is one common myth about your industry, our industry, that you would like to debunk?
Yeah, and I think I talked this a little bit earlier. The big bad brainless bodyguard. Usually I don't say bunk. I said the big bad brainless bodyguard is BS. And that's the truth. You can hire people that don't think, don't want to advance, that don't want to get any better, and you can pay them $9 an hour, whatever the minimum wage is. That's what you're going to have. That's going to be your company. That's going to be.
You get what you pay for.
You get what you pay for. Yes. You get what you pay for. If you want to be able to pay people, so this is their other job, their side job. They got to work 3 other ones. They're going to be tired coming in. But the big bad brainless bodyguard is BS. That's the biggest thing. And I think that we talked about earlier, that security guard mentality. security professionals, and everyone wants to put it like, oh, they're security guards. Like they're professionals.
Yep.
There's situational awareness. There's the education, the training. There's all these things that so many officers, so many agents are putting in the time for. And people want to dismiss that. They want to dismiss the security guard, the security agent who works at a mall, right? Who's making sure they're being situationally aware. They've learned how to be able to stop the bleed or do CPR. They've learned all these things, and people are like, oh, there's there's a mall cop. It's like that's ridiculous. These are people, and we're professionals, and there's different levels and there's different specialties, but these are people who I think want to help other people, want to make other people more safe. They're not there because they just can't get another job. That's
even if the guy is I hate to say it, even if the guy's a cop wannabe, he's still in security because he see himself being that protector or someone that's going to do a job like a cop, like a police officer. Let me give you a quick story. I used to be the acting deputy chief at the Defense Intelligence Agency for the Protective Service Division. Protective Service Division was really the security guard force, right? And when I got there, they were security guards, and they were the lowest paid, and that's what they were. They were security guard, government security guards. They have a designation for it. I got them changed to security officers, which was another designation, which all allowed them to get a higher pay. The entire force had to go to FLETC. If you're familiar with FLETC, that's the training center, law enforcement training center. When they came back, man, they just had the same guys had this professionalism. They felt like, hey, I went to an academy. I'm a security officer now, and it just changed their whole mentality, and that changed their performance level, man.
People will be who you expect them to be. That's one of the biggest things, with all like some of the psychology courses and everything I've taken as well. People for the most part will be who you expect them to be. The standard that you hold them to, they'll come up to that. It's like, you're a professional. These are the things that are expected, and you hold them to that. You hold that hard line. Here's the book. They'll do that. People will be who you expect them to be if you hold them to it. It's something that I've seen in a lot of people. It's like you, and the other thing too is you can help them see that within themselves, right?
That's what leaders do. That's what leaders are there for.
Yeah, help them see that within themselves. It's like, listen, it's like, hey, you have the ability. It's like, so here's a person, they have no security training whatsoever, blah, blah, blah. Being able to talk to them and say, hey, you have great people skills. You have a heart that wants to help people. You have an ability to learn, to pay attention, to communicate. That person right there can be one of the best executive protections agents in the industry right now. And they haven't picked up a firearm. They haven't run an operation. The thing is being able to nurture that, let them see that in themselves, right? Let them see that in themselves, help them light that fire to get this other training, to polish that diamond,
Well, you said something that is, well, you said that all of your folks have been, I think you said you've been out to eat to get dinner together and all that.
Yeah.
But what happens when you become that, when Elite Tactical get all the cannabis plants and they become $100 million company?
No.
How do you still keep, let's speak it into existence. How do you keep that kind of same thing going? Because you won't be able to have everybody to your house then. I guess you instill that in your downward line, and maybe the low guy at that particular plant is going to take his guys to lunch, on the company or something. Because I think you got to, I love what you're saying, but I think you got to keep that going. That's what happens with the Allied Bartons and the large companies where you become a number. We call it in DC a cheeks and seat. I just put a button in the seat so I can get paid. And then you start to lose those guys.
And that's the thing. And it's really something that we have to be wary of, a victim of our own success type of thing, right? And understanding, here's the thing, because it's really easy to, just got done doing all taxes and everything, of seeing numbers. And numbers don't have faces, and numbers don't have families, and numbers don't have, bills to pay. They're just numbers, all these numbers, and fix these numbers and what are these numbers so they work the best. Right? Who needs to be here? Who needs to be here? Okay, all these shifts are filled. Okay, all the done.
Yep.
you know, and that's something, and it's hard to do, but it's something, as if you're going to lead in the security industry, lead in any business industry, right? You're going to be the boss. You're going to be in charge. You have to understand that all those names on that roster sheet are people with hopes and dreams and potential, and families and people that care about them, you know, and you have to maintain that. And it can be difficult, you know, as things get bigger and bigger. And now you're, you know, now your roster sheet is like, here's my roster sheet.
Yes.
You know, it can be difficult to know your people. That's why it's really important too, you know, as, you know, the boss man or whatever, to make sure that you're, you know, as you develop that span of control, you know, because they usually say between, you know, three and 7 people, you know, is the optimal span of control. You don't want to be managing 20, you know, but you have to really build, as you build that pyramid, you know, of people underneath you have to instill that value of them understanding that these are real people with real hopes and dreams and potential that are working underneath you to help you accomplish your goals. Right. And you can demand a whole lot from them. Right. And you can also push them to be the best that they can be. Right. And you can help them get that satisfaction of doing a great job.
I cannot be successful without every one of them being
No.
successful.
You take a look at, like I talk about, like the pyramid. You take a look at the pyramid, you take a look at the Eiffel Tower, all that stuff. If everything is out from under the top of that Eiffel, it just crashes to the ground. It's a disaster. You can't, you cannot do anything in the business. And really, I think about any industry, anything you want to do in your life, you know, and be successful without a lot of people helping to support you. Of course, there's going to be a drive coming from within you to push you forward. Yes. But there's so many times people help other people. You know, I think about, you know, people talk about stuff like, I did this all by myself. It's like, you pushed yourself, and you know what? You wouldn't have got there without the hard work that you did. You're exactly right. But let's take a closer look. Let's take a closer look at that teacher in, you know, 10th grade that helped you in math and helped push you to do better. You know, let's take a look at about, you know, mom and dad. Oh, mom and dad weren't there. Yeah, they weren't, because they were working 2 jobs, because then you had a house and you had food and you got to go to college.
Even that drill sergeant who on day 1 I hated, but by week 8 we graduated, and I love the guy. You know, you made me the man I am.
He you know, he carved you out of wood. Yep. You know, and now you've become this that potential has been realized. That realization of potential
that I didn't even know I had in me.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask you a question about how you stay up on things in your career, but you got to answer that, because you're constantly in training others. You're doing training to keep yourself sharp. So I'll skip over that one. Let's go back to now. What's one thing you wish you'd known when you began your career, you know, that you know now that you wish you'd known, what'd you say, in 2006 when you began this career?
Let's see. I think one of the things that I wish I would have known, you know, way back when I first started versus now is that the big bad bodyguard tough guy thing, you know, isn't important. You know, it's important to understand people and understand all the different components that makes up a human being. You know,
well, I see what you're saying, because, you know, as young guys get into this field, it was about being tough, better than the other guy, kicking ass and taking names. But now you see it's more about, you talked about psychology classes and things you taught, you know. And so go ahead, continue with that.
It's about you know, and I remember you know, it was great with Club Nico learning the de-escalation. Obviously, all of that was unarmed, you know. But then you know, after Club Nico closed down, I got on the fire department and everything. What was I running through all the time? You know, dry fire drills or taking, you know, these tactical classes, right? And doing all these, you know, Rambo type drills and watching on YouTube. It's like, oh, this is okay. This is like, oh yeah, I need to make sure I have level 4 armor and all this stuff. And then, okay, Cameron's like, and I'm ready for, you know, World War III and all this other stuff. And it's like, but I wish that instead of, you know, only focusing on my body, I would have focused more on my mind.
Yep. Right. So that kind of leads to my next question. Then, what advice would you give someone wanting to enter this field? Then, I guess that's a follow on to that. What would you tell that young you?
Number 1, learn. Get involved. do a couple different type of security field type of things. If it's, cybersecurity, if it's facility, if it's executive protection, look into all those different types of things, get a taste and see what fits your personalities, or, and the other thing is learn and understand that learning to be the best security professional that you can be isn't just taking security classes. There's, you can take intelligence classes, psychology classes, de-escalation stuff, healthcare classes, statistics classes, which are terribly difficult sometimes.
Yeah. Well, it's going to help you. I mean, I'm on a search and rescue team now, and that helps me with map reading and all that. I'm like, I didn't need that stuff, but yeah, I do need it, And so I hear from you, you need to find, I love that you say, don't just give up security because you're a guard and think that's all you can do. Look at all these other specialties that you can get in that you might be interested in, and then find your niche or your niche or whatever you want to call it.
That's exactly right.
It might be cyber, it might not be physical, or it might be becoming a fireman. I love saving lives, not carrying a gun. So let me go into fire and rescue.
Yeah. I mean, that's vitally important.
Mm-hmm.
Ask any military unit who's their most important guy. They're not going to say their lieutenant. Mm-hmm. They're not going to say their sergeant. They're going to say their medic.
I knew you say that.
That's a whole thing. Who do they call? Yep. If something's gone bad, it's like they need Doc.
Yep.
We need him right there. And that, you want to talk about some high stress stuff, you go into that tactical medicine type of stuff. Yep. That's a whole different thing, which is great with the med response thing. We're able to touch into a little bit of the tactical medicine stuff,
I got buddies who are combat medics from the military. So not only are they trained in medicine, but they have to still be elite fighters as well. Yeah. So they do that. So what are you most proud of in your own career?
I think obviously like my firefighting career, I'm really proud of being able to jump on the rig and protect people when things have gone bad. Mm-hmm. Whether it's a medical call, whether it's a fire, whether it's a car accident, I'm there, and I have the knowledge and skills to be able to help people when things have gone wrong.
Well, you know what, Nick, what I like about what you do, what I do, there are a lot of careers out there, but our career actually have the potential to impact somebody's life every single day. Everything we do can impact somebody's life. I might not be doing that with, I don't know, with my cybersecurity. Well, I can't say so. With a typical job at the bank, and I take your balance and put it in the cash register. That's not really impacting your life. You just say you hop in the car and you doing CPR on somebody today. Then your next call, you put out a fire. The next call, you're rescuing somebody who's just fallen into a swimming pool. Every day you can go home feeling like you made an impact on someone's life. And I think that's a great thing that we've chosen to do.
It's a great feeling. Like I said, there's 8 babies. That's my thing. I always remember, like, I've delivered 8 babies. Not one of those moms have named their kid Nick or Nicole after me.
I was about to ask you that.
I can't believe it. But I remember, the first delivery I was on ended up being a prolapse cord. So it's the first time I ever delivered a baby, and the cord is prolapsed. So it's the worst thing that can possibly happen. Usually deliveries are very, very easy. It's like, mom, push, I'll catch, right? That's most all of them, right? The very, very first one I'm ever on, it's a prolapse cord. It's like, I got to do a bunch of stuff. It's go time, first time. Here you go. It's the craziest stuff you got to do,
I bet after that, the other 7 were easy.
What's that?
After that first one, the other 7 were probably easy.
After that one is like the trial by fire. It's like, listen, I've been forged in fire. It's like, what do we got? Yeah, ma'am, just push, I'll catch. You're gonna be fine. So that's one of the big things is being able to serve my community. I'm very, very proud of that. The other thing too is, especially with Elite Tactical, what I'm proud of is that we've been able to build a company pretty much out of an idea, that values our employees, as people, as real people, as real professionals. That cares about our community, about keeping people safe in our community. This summer we gave some free classes about some austere medicine, medicine if you're out, even at a protest or something like that, being able to help someone that's injured at a protest or at another event, something like that. Being able to, uphold our principles, security, integrity, professionalism, and really looking at integrity right in the middle there, of being exactly who we say we are, of upholding those principles.
So where do you want to take Elite Tactical? Do you want to be an ally Barton, or what is your vision for Elite Tactical?
That's the big thing. I don't see Elite Tactical as being something that is, an allied universal, right? Mm-hmm. They have their place. They do some great things. Mm-hmm. I think it's something that we can build regionally, possibly nationally at some point. But the big thing is I want to be able for it to have, a large reach, but keep that down home personal feeling,
that boutique feeling that you spoke
that boutique feeling. So whether the office is in Dallas, which that's an exciting, I can't wait for make this announcement. I keep hitting at it. Whether the office is in Dallas, or whether we're in Chicago, we're in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, wherever we're at, being able to be on the phone with those people consistently and being able to shake those hands, making sure that they understand that as that operations director in that area, our clients are going to have their phone number, making sure that we understand that customer service and commitment to our employees and our clients, really comes to the forefront.
I really love that, because you talked about numbers before, we get to the point where we got to run those numbers and we're so large, but you can be large. And I love the idea that you're going to be large, but Chicago is yours. You're the regional manager and you need to shake hands and know everybody by name in your area. DC, Omaha, California, still get that boutique feeling, because that's what I want. I want to know, I want to be able to pick up the phone, call Nick. Hey, Nick, we got an issue over here. Not pick up the phone and get the receptionist who says, I'm going to put you on hold. I'm going to call this person. And wait a minute, I got to get you to this person. I want that feeling that you're taking care of me. Because we're talking safety and security. We're talking about security. We're not talking about accounting. And I really want you to take care of me. I got one more question about the company. Yeah. You kind of hit it on it, but where did the Elite Tactical come from? I kind of got the feeling when you talk about motivation and then being elite, but what's the 30-second story about how you got Elite Tactical?
So there was that discussion that I had with some of those operators, I guess.
Yeah.
Some of those guys when we went and had some cigars and drinks at Havana Cigar. And, and we talked about motivation. We talked about discipline. We talked about what does it take to be elite. And these are definitely gentlemen, who are elite. Mm-hmm. They've been to places where they've had to do weird things in weird places. Yeah. That's one of the things we talked about, and it's like an elite really has to come from yourself. Mm-hmm. Other people might say you're elite, but you have to hold yourself as being elite, which means that it's 4 a.m. and there's no one else around. Are you going to be elite right then?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Right? Are you going to have a tactical mindset where you're thinking about what are the things that need to be done? How do we accomplish that? What are the resources we have? Where are we at? And what do we need to do to move forward? And those are really things that, that came into our name, Elite Tactical Security and Protection. Are you elite? That's something that comes from you. You decide that you want to be elite. You're not elite yet. You don't think you're elite yet? Then go make yourself elite. Are you using your brain and thinking about things in that tactical sense, in that, bigger picture of what's going on? Do that, process that. So that's how we kind of threw that together.
Now you said we, and I heard you mention, I think your spouse, is she involved? In order to have a successful business, we have to have the support of our partner.
Yes.
So is she involved in the business as well?
Yes. My wife is the CEO.
Okay.
Of the company. I'm the chief of operations.
So she's the boss. You work for her.
Yes. And I always say, we have the way we came up with the name, and I always say too that she is the elite, and I'm the tactical.
There you go. I like that. I love that.
My wife Tori, she is the elite, and I'm the tactical. So I'll put on the camouflage pants, and she will be elite and keep everything going great. She's really,
has to do it.
she does a bunch of stuff with the business side of thing, with the meeting people, talking with people. She's a great people person. Absolutely. And she's done a bunch of stuff. I mean,
well, you need that balance.
I talk about like the numbers and everything, and I can do a lot of stuff with the numbers. And every once in a while, I have to go, okay, I've gotten as far. It's like I need you to help.
I need the elite part.
It's like can you check this, because I'm So that's really the great thing. And I mean, we have great discussions about, what do we want this company to be, and I'm focused on a lot of the security stuff, and she's focused a lot on, like the elite thing is like, are we treating our employees the best we can? Are we striving to push people to be the best they can be? Are we doing the best we can for our clients? I'm over here and I'm drawing. I was like, this is the street and we need to have this as a possible if we need to move out of here, and here's the exit door and here's the exit door and here's the exit door. And she's like, that is great. That is great. That is all the, the nuts and bolts and everything underneath. Yes. That is all the tactical. And she's like, now let's put this nice shiny cover over it and make it presentable. And here it goes to the client. And the client's like, this is beautiful. It's like, this is hours of work. And she's like, this is beautiful. So
well, you need that because like you said, you and I came in this business from the tactical aspect and we think tactical. And sometimes we need that person to say, well, wait a minute, we need the people part of this as well. So I talked about your success, and I think I'm gonna change this question. I always ask people, we talked about your success, but what was your biggest failure? But I'm gonna also say, or your lesson learned. What was the biggest? Because some people say, well, I don't see things as a failure. What was the biggest thing, your biggest lessons learned you had in your career business?
I just, so I listened to Jocko Willink's podcast, and I have a couple of his books, and he talks about failure. And failure, I think, was it?
Fail forward. Yes.
Fail forward. And he talked about it as like, I failed 87 times today.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, that's a great thing to think about. How many times did Tom Brady fail? Right? How many interceptions did Tom Brady throw? The greatest, most winning quarterback. He's got all these Super Bowls and everything. Well, he didn't go to the Super Bowl every year.
Yep.
Right. He didn't win the Super Bowl every time he went.
Right.
Yeah. So it's really been, something I think about, like my greatest failures. It was failures in being able to understand my resources that I needed for help.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it was on an operation, whether it was at a fire scene, whether it was in a relationship,
be it business relationship or whatever, you still have
business relationship, all those things, and being able to and understanding that I had a failure for a large part of my life in communication, in communication itself. And in a lot of my classes, I talk about communication, whether it's, romantic, relationship, business, tactical, operational. Communication is the genesis of any, breakdown in communication is the genesis of any problem.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
If you look at every problem and you boil it down to whatever it started out, there's a miscommunication. There's a communication breakdown somewhere in there. And I think a long time in my life, I wasn't understanding how to communicate effectively. I wasn't understanding how to listen effectively. I wasn't understanding how to communicate the things I needed or wanted, or understand what people needed or wanted from me, either in a professional sense or a relationship sense. And that led to a lot of, feeling like I was doing everything, on an operation, or feeling alone, So that was one of the biggest things is working on my communication.
But what I like about what you just said, Nick, I heard it in your speaking. That was your big issue. But you already talked about that. You teach communication. You talk about communication. So obviously, you took what you felt you were weak in. You learned about how to communicate the right way, and then you deploy that in your business, and you even teach it to others now.
Yeah.
So my next question was, what did you learn from that? But obviously, you learned that if you have a weakness, you got to build upon that weakness.
That's exactly right. If bench press is your favorite lift,
yes,
don't do bench press.
Yeah.
Go and do squats.
Yeah. That's why at the top I'm like this, but my legs are about like gonna hold a squat.
Right? That's the thing. Everyone who can do bench press really well wants to go and show off and do bench press, right? And it's like, and if you look at like professionals, you look at athletes, professionals, security professionals, military professionals, is like, oh yeah, I have a 405-pound bench press. It's like, that's awesome. What's your squat? Oh, my squat is terrible. You know what? And I hate squats. It's like, guess what? Go and do squats and make squats your best lift.
Yep.
And that's the big thing. It's like, if you find the area where I'm not good at this, and people don't want to do things they're not good at. They want to do the things that's like, I'm great at this. I'm going to do this because I'm a star here. Okay. But if you want to be the best that you can be, if you want to push yourself to be elite, right? Find the thing that you're terrible at and become the best you can be at.
I had a teacher in high school, Nick, tell me if it's something you hate doing, do that first.
Yeah.
You know, if you something you really don't like, so let's say squats. I don't like squats. Maybe I need to get the squats done so I can get to the benches. You know, instead of doing my bench press, I'm like, I'm too tired. I'm not gonna do a squat. And that stuck with me my entire life. If you don't like doing something, go ahead and knock it out first, Derek, because it has to be done. So let's do it. Now, I want to be cognizant of your time. You know, we've been going for a while, and it's been interesting. It's been a great interview. I love all the things that you talked about. But if you could step into my shoes for a moment, what would be one thing you will ask yourself that I probably forgot to ask?
Let's see. I think we even hit on it, because I think it was like, where's the security industry heading? It was kind of one of the things that I was really thinking about.
Well, we didn't talk about that. Where do you think it's heading? I guess cannabis and personal, but that's a good point. Where do you think it's heading?
No, cannabis. I think the cannabis industry is something that you're going to see explode.
Okay.
Right. In a political sense, it's a political issue that people aren't necessarily negative on, but they're wary of it. There's a long history of people associating cannabis industry with criminality.
Yep.
So
where do you think we're going? Where do you think we're going? What do you think is the next step? Because we got all this technology and stuff. What's the next step?
I think honestly, looking at integrating, physical security with automated systems. Those automated systems. I think I saw some security guard that looked like a robot or something. That they're trying to, like, the personal touch and security is going to always be there, and it has to always be there. But I see the cannabis industry really exploding on a national level, and I think there's going to be a big influx of people trying to get into that industry as fast as possible for a cash grab. And I think it's going to be important for as we head into that time for companies to really make sure they're maintaining their integrity in their professionalism, as we move into a lot of different companies opening up, a lot of cannabis businesses opening up that are going to need that security. And it's one of those things. It's like, if you told me I had to go and hire 50 people for a job tomorrow, it's like, well, that's not our hiring process.
Yeah.
Like that. It's like, I don't have enough time to go through these people and see who they are and talk with them and see if they fit who we are as a company. So I think that's something that we need to be wary of. Especially as things move forward, not only with cannabis, but also with, as we've seen with like coronavirus or civil unrest, or, some of the income inequality that you might that's going on, in that private security becoming a larger thing that we're seeing in our society. It's going to be something where we need to make sure that we continue to make people hold a certain level of professionalism, make sure that we hold people to a standard that's a high standard. So we're not just bringing in, the security guard, we're bringing in professionals.
Well, in the DC area, somebody will win a contract of one of these government buildings, and they need, in 30 days, I need you to have, like you said, 50 people. Oh, by the way, they need secret security clearances. How do I do that? And then you end up with cheeks and seats. Oh, you got a clearance? I don't care if you have experience. Come on over here. I need to get you in this position because we need 50 guys. I see that in cybersecurity. I see that in IT. I know people get in the IT industry. They got one certification and never worked a job, but the certification fit what they need. Oh, come on in. We'll put you in the seat. That's not the quality that I want from our organization. Now, you mentioned something very important. How has COVID affected your business and the industry in general, you think? And then I'll wrap up from there.
It's been interesting, and luckily, we were uniquely positioned, I think, to not be as negatively infected as a small business as a lot of small businesses were. Obviously, like with some of like the events, College World Series, we were supposed to have some NBA or some March Madness games here last March, all canceled. Olympic swim trials last spring, all canceled. Those big events got canceled, so obviously there's some money that was lost in there.
I got to think even with executives, they're not traveling as much. So you won't even have,
that was the other thing too. So if we looked at the economic slowdown, There wasn't a Berkshire Hathaway meeting here. So a lot of people that would need executive protection didn't need it. People weren't traveling, going places. So there wasn't a travel, there weren't travel jobs like, hey, we need 2 people to go with our person down to South Padre. Okay, but no, and the other thing too, believe it or not, the big thing that we saw really, really fall off was the secure transport industry. The secure transport industry.
The gold still has to go. Those things still have to move.
That was the big thing. Big things. So like places like Amazon, FedEx, stuff like that you could ship via those things. Those went crazy. Everyone was shopping from home. But a lot of those luxury items, diamonds, large artwork, guns, they seem to just stay in the place that they were at, and so a lot of those transport contracts seem to really, really dry up for a while. And the nice thing that I'm seeing right now, though, is about in June where things really started to dry up. June to about October, and then things started to pick back up again. Okay. Not a lot, but a little bit. But now we're seeing, as we're moving into late February and into March, things are really picking up again.
Great.
I think some of the economic stimuluses that have happened have helped some people, either start businesses or start moving towards, getting their businesses up and running again. And that's one of the things, we're a big business to business type of service. So once they become more successful, once people start going and doing things a little bit more, I think as we move forward and from this pandemic type situation, there's still going to be precautions in place. There's still going to be the lessons learned, but it's going to be good to see things open up a little bit and be able to have a little more business. So there's big slowdown for a while, but it never was so bad that we were in trouble, or to the point where it's just like, we got to shut down. So the nice thing is we're still able to come out of 2020 and we were able to turn to profit, which a lot of small businesses could not say that they turned to profit. So we're very, very lucky. And we were able to, especially we had a couple of people that, did some elite tactical stuff as their second job. They worked in, and they were able to, if, some people got laid off at their regular job, they were able to move into elite tactical and have that time, and we were able to make up that gap. So that was really good.
Because I have seen the impact. One of the guys I interviewed said you should have a specialty if you're in this field, and I agree with that. But also you should have some diversified things you can do, like you're doing. If churches might be doing this, but executive protection doing this, or cannabis doing this, so you still have that balance. So if you only were doing cannabis or house of worship, you probably be out of business if that was all you were doing. So we kind of have to balance that.
Yeah, I mean, and that was one of the big things, facility, all the security, different things we did. We have ATMs, so we, fill ATMs with cash.
So where do you do that so I can follow some of you guys the next? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. So I can work your route out. Money heist.
We sell ballistic. We sell body armor. So we have body armor. Yeah, we have the situational awareness class from our Curie that we give out. We've got the classes. That was the big thing, was being able to diversify, and that's really what got us through in a great position. I mean, even with like some of the houses of worship, a lot of churches had to close down. There was no church inside. The nice thing is some places were able to do their church services outside in the parking lot, right? And then they were still able to do a collection. Right, they had kind of a drive-through, and they're still able to do the collection. And we were able to have some elite tactical agents there to make sure that the collection went off great. No one wanted to cause any problems. So
and this would be a good time to fix the security plans and the response plans. I still got stuff I can do for you.
That was one of the great things, especially because we were able to meet, and it's like we have time to go through and see what we need to do and what we need to set up, because this is going to be empty for the next couple of weeks. So let's figure out what we need to do, how we can set this up, and make the changes we need to make this as secure as it possibly can be. What are the protocols we need to put in place? Who are the people that we need to have here? What are the things we're thinking about? If we're thinking about an armed security team, this is drywall. This is drywall. What's behind this drywall wall? It's like drywall is not going to stop a bullet. We got to think about all these different things as we're going through this. And so it was really great. It gave us, especially in our consulting stuff, and a chance to really break down and give people a great consultation of figuring every little thing out that we could.
Yep.
You know, because I get real down to the nitty gritty of every little thing I can think of.
Well, Nick, this has been very interesting. Thank you very much for stepping up to the blue table and letting me see inside your world. I really appreciate you coming on. People really are starting to enjoy these and they ask for more. And I love to get people like you on here so that people can see how you operate. People write me and say, I got ideas from this guy and I'm doing this in my business. I bet you there's going to be 5 people who watch this going to start doing cannabis security and house of worship security. As long as they don't come to your area, they'll be okay. So thank you very much. I really appreciate your time. If anybody want to get in contact with you or Elite Tactical or anything like that, how do they reach out to you? And I'm going to put it down below as well, so people can see.
You can check out our website, elitetacticaltransport.com. You can also contact us on our email, contact@elitetacticaltransport.com. We also have a LinkedIn page and a Facebook page. I think Facebook is at Elite Tactical Omaha. Yeah, we always enjoy, you know.
I didn't understand.
Oh, my Alexa talked. She was quiet the whole time, and that's
this is real life, you know.
Yeah. We always enjoy talking with people. You know, getting those emails if people like a phone call, talking about what we do, giving classes, giving personalized classes. You know, eventually giving classes in person. You know, we're really excited about the situational awareness specialist class we're giving from our Curie group. That's going to be a big thing. But all of our classes. The other thing too is reach out, call us or email us, check out our website, and we can figure out, you know, a personalized class that's, you know, that's catered to you, you know, or security
or website. There's a lot of great classes on the website. I was checking it out. I already saw some things I want to take. You know, reach out to Nick and let him answer your questions. There's a lot of great things he's doing. Again, appreciate you coming on, man. And
thank you so much for having me. This was great. I had a great time.
Me too. All right, man. Thank you. Well, that's it for this video, folks. If you want to learn more about private investigation or become a private investigator, check out my private investigator career course at privateinvestigationsacademy.com. It is jam-packed with 35 lessons on everything you need to possibly know to be a private investigator. And by the way, when you get my course, you also get a free vacation to one of 51 available locations, and I have a 3-payment plan available. So again, check out my PI career course at privateinvestigationsacademy.com. I'll see you on the next video.